Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic. My name is Mike Avery here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. And glad to have you along with us as we kick off our Wednesday morning on a kind of a warm morning here in my part of the world. The temperature is supposed to drop all day long today. Good morning, John. How are you? We've been on a temperature roller coaster, haven't we? Yeah, I don't know what to expect. There is good ice, though. Good ice across most of the state. Good morning, Dave Freebie. Good morning. How are you? Always a pleasure, Dave. Thank you for everything you're doing. You're a good guy. Your family is a good family. What you and Karen are doing for Trinity is cannot be overlooked. Bruce, good morning. Carl, good morning. Bernie, nice to have you along with. Hey, Ross. There we go. Ross says, Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Jen, I've been following you and Tim, your progress with the new house. That is beautiful. Congrats on that. You guys have done so much work. I'm so happy for you. Absolutely beautiful. So that's a wonderful blessing. Marty, good morning. How are things in Florida? Kind of jealous, Marty. Although we are going down to Florida. Denise and I are going down to Florida. Mad Jack, good morning. How are things over on YouTube? Heading down to Florida in April for a wedding. That'll be fun. Okay, let me promote this right away. If you want tickets, good morning, Johnny. How are things in the U? St. Catharines, Ontario. What are you doing there? Good morning, Mike. How are you? Heather, I got to tell you, you and I have not met, at least not that I know, but I've been following you on Instagram, and you are a very, very impressive person. What you're doing in promoting the outdoors and promoting trapping and promoting families in the outdoors, and to be honest, promoting women in the outdoors, you are doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. So congrats on that. Good morning, Jim. How are things at Pratt Lake? Lori, good morning. How are you? Lori has her tickets for the March 5th event. That's what I was just going to talk about. Chad. All right, Chad, nice to hear from you. If you want tickets for the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction, you better call this morning, 989-662-4891, 989-662-4891. Good morning, Josh. How are you? That dinner is Saturday, March 5th at the Bay Valley Resort in Bay County. Chef Dave Miner is catering the event. I am the host and auctioneer. Hey, Joe, good morning. How are you? Hey, Pastor, we would love to see you come down Saturday, March 5th for our Trinity Monitor Wild Game dinner and auction. If you decided you guys wanted to come down, tickets are on me, but let me know. It's going to be a great event. Now, we haven't done one in a couple of years, so I got to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous because we did take a couple of years off. We got to kind of remember how to do this, right? But we have great prizes. The live auction will feature fishing trips on Saginaw Bay, on Lake Michigan. There will be guns that will be raffling off, auctioning off. Michigan brand meat products for a year. A Rapid River knife, products from Offshore Tackle. Hunting Time Expo. Yeah, Heather, that would be great. Good morning, Dave. How are you? Brent, you need to get tickets for the dinner, too. Joel. Hello, good morning. How are you? 989-662-4891. It's Saturday, March 5th at the Bay Valley Resort in Bay County. Chef Dave Miner is cooking. I'm doing the live auction and kind of acting as a host of the event, but the true host is Trinity Monitor, families at Trinity Monitor. It's a wonderful event. We're all very excited about it. We're working hard to bring in some great auction items, some great prizes. Do it now, Brent. Call Lisa right now when we're done and tell her I said, Brent, you call 989-662-4891, ask for Lisa and say, Mike Avery just told me to call. It'll freak her out a little bit. Josh, Saturday, March 5th. Saturday, March 5th, 989-662-4891, 989-662-4891. Tickets are $60 a piece. Well worth it. Because if for nothing else, the money's going for a good cause, right? Good morning, Mike. How are you? 28th and 29th and 28th, 29th and 30th. Now that must be, is that the Hunting Time Expo in Birch Run or Grand Rapids? Good morning, Jim. How are you? Oh, man. Jim Felgenauer have a steelhead trip booked for the 5th. May send a donation. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember you saying that now that you had a steelhead trip scheduled for March 5th. That would be great, Ed. Appreciate it. Grand Rapids. Okay, Heather. Good. The only thing, Joe, is if you did come down for that event, as much as we'd love to see you, you would probably have a few people take you aside and try to get you to change your mind on a certain decision. So as much as I'd love to see you, maybe that's not a good idea. Jim, how are things in Hersey? David Bowler, my friend Johnny's brother. Haven't met you, Dave. I look forward to it, though. Oh, so what's on the list? Oh, by the way, I'm accepting congratulations for the Pure Michigan Hunt. They're drawing it Saturday at noon on the DNR website, michigan.gov/DNR, probably on the Facebook page as well. Saturday at noon, they are drawing the Pure Michigan Hunt. I am one of the winners. Scott checking in from work. Don't let the boss see you, Scott. And hopefully you won as well. A couple of things I've noticed. A lot of people are out rabbit hunting right now. Isn't that great? Rabbit hunting in Michigan is a great winter time. Ross just reserved a whole table. Anybody who calls this morning, ask for Lisa and tell him I told you to call, just to let her know I'm earning my money, although I'm not making any money on this thing. In fact, it's going to cost me money because I'm giving away a couple of fishing trips. Not that that's a concern. Give me a reason to go fishing. But I bought a lot of tickets, and we'll probably find some other prizes as well. So, Ross, Ross, you said you reserved a whole table. Keep in mind what I told you last night, though, as far as tickets, right? Okay. A lot of people rabbit hunting right now. Just got off the phone with her. John of the CMU Bass Fishing Club was on the ice Sunday, kept 21 gills, but threw back around 40. Nice. Jim, good morning. How are you? So people are rabbit hunting right now. Bobcat hunting, seeing a lot. Boy, we got a lot of cats in Michigan right now, don't we? More people seeing bobcats. Of course, the fact that there are a lot of trail cameras out there. And thank God we don't live in Arizona, because Arizona, well, let me check that. Arizona, Mike said call for a good time. No, don't tell her that, Roger. Don't tell her that. After the live. Arizona has banned trail cameras for hunting. Now, you can still keep them out there for wildlife research projects and for wildlife viewing, but you can't use them for hunting. And now Colorado wants to ban mountain lion hunting and bobcat hunting. Josh says he can see open water at State Park a couple miles out. Thanks, Josh, for that heads up. Appreciate it. Trekking Outdoors, good morning. How are you guys? Hopefully we'll get to meet sometime this fall. Johnny will have to let me know when you're going to be in the UP. Yeah, Dave, I would look forward to that. I will be hopefully bear hunting with Johnny this fall. I can't see any reason why I wouldn't draw the third season. So I am going with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters in White River, Ontario in August. I still have hopes for a Quebec springtime hunt. Utah did the same with the cameras. I didn't know that, Alan. Thank you. I'll add that to my list, Arizona and Utah. And you know what's pushing this, don't you, people? It's the anti-hunting groups. They've somehow weaseled their way into, called and left a message. Okay, Brent. They've weaseled their way into these fish and game commissions. My concern is the same thing here in Michigan. We'll talk more about this here, maybe in this Behind the Mic, and certainly in the first segment of this week's show. And along that line, meant this weekend is wolf hunting. Okay, Ross. Excellent. Good luck to you, buddy. Did you see the pictures I posted of Chris Durson of Rapid River Knife Works and the big, huge Idaho cat mountain lion that he shot? And the negative comments that came out of the woodwork on that one have me very, very concerned, because a lot of these comments were from fellow hunters who apparently don't understand wildlife management. In fact, there was a very disturbing comment from the wife of a professional walleye angler who everybody knows very well. who said she just couldn't accept the fact that somebody was killing a mountain lion. It's a legal kill. It's biologically sound. It's biologically necessary. Why is it okay to catch and eat a walleye, but it's not okay to shoot a mountain lion? If you accept one, you've got to accept it all. If you accept the premise of sound scientific wildlife management, which includes the harvest of predators, then you have to accept the entire premise, right? Bonus, very good point, Chad says. Idaho is paying I heard it's up to $1,500, Chad. And we'll talk more with Chris Durson about that. Cliff's headed up to Tip Up Town this weekend. I don't know how much that cat weighed, Scott. I will ask Chris. And people say, well, did he eat the cat? Yeah, they ate the cat. Mountain lion is excellent. Alan, you're right. Hunters are their own worst enemy. I understand. I do. I understand the concept of only shooting what you're going to eat. I understand that. Good morning, my brother. How are you, Mike? I understand that. I grew up in a house like that you didn't kill something you weren't going to eat. I get that. But there's also the premise of wildlife management and taking predators. I didn't eat the wolf I shot in White River. Chad says Idaho's looking to call 1,500 wolves. Wow. Speaking of wolves, you heard the story of Michigan houndsman Jordan Farmer losing a hound to a wolf on a bobcat hunt in the UP last week. Well, guess what? Jordan joins me on the show this week in the first hour in the second segment. Will we ever have a wolf hunt in Michigan? I am convinced that the powers that be, from the governor on down to the NRC into the DNR, don't have the heart for it. They don't want to push for it. They're not willing to work for it. They're afraid of the anti-hunters. And that bothers me tremendously. Ross says a COVID test just over an hour for his trip to Canada. I'm hoping it's negative, Ross. And let's hope it doesn't turn out like the story you told me last night with the guy who had a COVID test scheduled, didn't take it, and then got word that his COVID test was positive. I'm fully vaccinated, but I will tell you I have absolutely no confidence whatsoever in the accuracy of those COVID tests. Marion checking in from Florida. How are you this morning, Marion? Nice to have you along with us. Chad says, anybody get a wolf survey from the state besides me? Well, I'm hoping you're not the only guy they sent it to, Chad. I didn't get one, but that doesn't mean every other people didn't. What else is on my list? Trinity auction. Okay. Again, Trinity auction. Trinity Monitor. The church that I love, church and school. Trinity Monitor. Lutheran Church and School. Salisbury and 8 Mile. In Bay County. 989-615. I'm sorry, 989-662-4891. 989-662-4891. Tickets are $60 a piece. Call this morning. Call Lisa. Tell her that I said you should call her and reserve tickets because they're going fast. Chef Dave Miner is catering that event. I am the live auctioneer. Josh says Heather Iverson tournament weekend. Tell me more about that, Josh. If Heather mentions something, Heather is like, she's like a hero in my mind. I've never met her. Hey, John, how are you? Daughter tested positive. Where are we? The day we're supposed to fly. Oh, man. Jason got a table full for his group. Michelle reserved her tickets. Hunter Joe, good morning. How are you? I'm surprised Ross is the only guy who's asked me what day it is. It wouldn't be Wednesday morning if somebody didn't ask me. That'll work, Pat?
That will work. I think we'll just run as.
Just roll it in? Okay. Jack Cook, an old state DNR biologist who also introduced the moose back to the UP. Jack Cook. I don't recognize Jack as being the guy who reintroduced moose to the UP. I see that as I can see his face, but Jack Cook, the name, that name is not. I'll think of the guy's name because I can see his face because I just found that video the other day. The guy I'm associating with the moose reintroduction. Mapes was saying the Hunting Time Expo is the same date as one of the Predator tournaments. Gotcha. Scott Hans says the Walleye for Warriors MC again. Eh? Yep, absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. Mike, what day is it? What day is it? It's hump day. Pat loves it when I do that. Actually, Pat hates it when I do that. Shane checking in from Rose City. Ralph Bailey. That's the name, Chad, that I'm coming up with. Ralph Bailey. So the name that was given a few minutes ago, I'm not picking up on that name. Yes. Ralph Bailey is the guy that in my mind was largely responsible for the reintroduction of moose. He is the guy who, when they did the moose lift in the mid 80s, he is the guy who was standing by, watching things, doing the interviews. Good morning, Ron. How are things at All Gray? Yeah, the Walleye for Warriors event will be Saturday and Sunday, June 11th and 12th, 10th and 11th, whatever that weekend is. If you are a vet, keep an eye on the Walleye for Warriors website. Actually, they call it Walleyes for Warriors. There is no such word as walleyes. It's like deer. There's no such word as deers. One deer is the same as 12 deer. It's the same with walleye. One walleye is the same as 12 walleye, but it's the walleyesforwarriors.com website. John says it's January, so it's really like a Monday. Mad Jack thinking about getting back into the Walleye for Warriors this year. Johnny, you can send me a text anytime, Johnny. I just won't answer it right away. Tim checking in from Gladwin. Yeah, Walleye for Warriors been off for a couple of years now, at least 1 year, maybe two. So yeah, a lot of people look forward to that, and that's one of the reasons why. And I keep pushing this Trinity monitor dinner. That's why a lot of people are excited about this. We had to take some time off, and now we're back, and we are going to do our best to put on another good show. We had a really good run going there. It was getting momentum. Our prizes were crazy. Made a lot of money on the event. And we had to take some time off. And so now we got to get back into it. So I am feeling the pressure to make this as good of an event as possible. Scott said there was 2 years off for Walleye for Warriors. Good morning, Bud. How are things in Zealand? Daryl says walleye, a great fish. I agree. Walleye is my favorite fish. They don't fight hard. They don't get big like a salmon, but walleye are my favorite fish. There's something about, I don't know, I love everything about walleye. And I hate everything about walleye. Greg checking in from Olivet. I want to help you out. Oh, Johnny. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you very much. Johnny is just saying he wants to help us out with a deer or bear to hunt to auction off. Johnny, that's wonderful. Eric says walleye are fun to catch through the ice too. Yeah, they are. I'd rather catch them open water. I'll tell you that right now. I would just rather catch them open water. Roger, you're right. Nels would be, and Nels is proud, and Nels is gone now. But he is the guy who created Walleye for Warriors event. And while Nels was still here, a lot of people had the chance to express our gratitude and respect for him. Thank you, Gary. The wolf management meeting is in process right now. Are you there, Gary? Are you there? Are you watching it? Is it online? I know that Jordan Farmer, the guy who lost the dog to wolves, hopes to speak at that event. I pre-recorded a segment with him that'll air on the show, and he couldn't do it because he was going to be at this wolf management meeting. But getting back to a Michigan wolf hunt, I think we desperately need one. We need to instill the fear of man in those wolves, and they don't have it right now. All right, Ross, will do. But I just don't think our leadership in Michigan has the heart to push for it. They just don't. With COVID and CWD and staffing and budget, they just don't have the heart to push for a wolf hunt. And they are scared to death of the anti-hunting groups, which frustrates me to no end. They just do not want to get involved in a fight with the well-organized, well-funded anti-hunting groups. And that, in my mind, is a shame. 2 minutes, Pat says. 989-662-4891. As soon as we get done here, call that number, ask for Lisa, tell her I said to call, and buy a couple tickets to the dinner, the Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner, Saturday, March 5th at Bay Valley Resort. A lot of open water, Eric said. A lot warmer open water, too. Yeah, good point. Like 70 degrees open water. John's hoping to get down to the Saginaw River this weekend for some eyes. If I ice fish at all this winter, it would be a trip out onto the Saginaw River. Dave says he wouldn't take his lab to the UP bird hunting because of wolves. I've heard that from a lot of people. And that's one of the questions I asked Jordan. I said, Jordan, this isn't the first animal you've lost to a wolf. Did you know wolves were in this section? And why did you go back in there? Why did you go in there? And I'll let him answer the question. Okay, Ross, I got your text. Got it. Good morning, Danny. How are you? Danny, I'll see you. I'm tentatively planning on being at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation dinner in Saginaw. Ross, if I was going to, it would be one trip out on the Saginaw River. If I was going to. 20 seconds. Tentatively planning on being there, Johnny and Craig. Some things in the works that might affect my ability to be there, but that is my plan at this point. Do it. All right. You may or may not be able to hear it, but Pat just started the music. There you go. Which means it's time for me to go to work to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will keep this live feed going. I won't be able to answer your questions. So if you throw something out to me and I don't respond, it's not because I'm being rude. It's because I'm doing a radio show. But if you join me tonight at 7:00 for another edition of Wednesday Night Live, we will be able to have that conversation and that interaction. I just realized I didn't tell you who's on the show this week, so you're just going to have to listen to find out. All right, my friends, have a great day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show right here in the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 AM and FM stations across the great state of Michigan. Here every week, and I mean every week. I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I don't think I don't want to jinx myself, but I don't think we have ever missed a show. Now, hey, listen, you never know what's going to happen, right? I mean, things can happen. Plans can change. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I will not miss a show for the next 10 years or however long I'm going to be behind this microphone. But I will do my best not to, because I'm here for 3 hours every week talking about the great outdoors here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond, talking about hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and wildlife issues and conservation issues and even some wild game cooking. In all, a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle. And it's more than just a hobby, isn't it? For most of us, hunting or fishing or trapping or whatever it is that we do, it's not a hobby. Gardening is a hobby. Golf is a hobby. Crocheting is a hobby. This is a lifestyle for us. It's something that many of us grew up in. For many of us, it's part of our family history and tradition. It's something we want to keep alive for future generations. And it's not just a hobby. Because when we're not out hunting or fishing or shooting or trapping, we are thinking about it. We are planning for our next trip. We are buying new gear and equipment. We're talking about it with our friends, with our buddies. We're following such activities online. It is, in short, again, a way of life. And here in our great state, we have a lot to be proud of. By the time you hear this show, depends. They may have drawn the Pure Michigan Hunt winners. As I am sitting here in the studios right now recording this week's show, they haven't drawn them yet, but as I've been telling you for the last several weeks, I won. I did. I won. And if you are listening after they drew the hunt winners and they didn't draw my name, there was a mistake because I won this year. And I'd be happy to share the waterfowl hunting tags with you. I've been seeing a lot of interest this winter in rabbit hunting, and I think that is great. There is nothing more wonderful than the sound of beagles chasing rabbits in the wintertime here in Michigan. It's a great wintertime outdoor tradition, a great way to get kids involved in the outdoors, a great social event. You know, unlike deer hunting or maybe even turkey hunting or bear hunting or something like that, which tends to be more of a solitary sport. You're out there usually by yourself or at least in a very small group, and you got to be quiet. You can't make a lot of noise. You can't move around a lot, which makes it tough for kids, right? If you want to introduce a kid to the outdoors, you don't take them out in the deer woods as their first experience. Take them out rabbit hunting. You can talk, you can shoot the breeze, you can watch the dogs work, you can hear them. If you get a shot at a rabbit, great. If you don't, that's okay too. That's one of the reasons I love rabbit hunting. It's a part of our tradition, plus it's a great way to get kids involved in the outdoors. Also seeing a very big interest now in bobcats here in our state. And I think that's in part because we're seeing more cats around our state. I think that's twofold. I think the bobcat population is indeed growing. I believe in numbers, but also geographically, we're seeing more bobcats in the central part of the Lower Peninsula than we have before. But also the fact that there's so many trail cameras out there now. Think about this. If you saw a bobcat in the past, you were lucky because you just happened to be there, say when you were out deer hunting or something, when a bobcat wandered by. And the odds of that, even in an area with lots of cats, is pretty slim. But if you have a trail camera out there, especially a cellular trail camera, you can keep an eye on everything that's going on out there in the woods. So we're seeing more cats. Maybe not a huge increase in the number, but we're seeing more of them. I think a lot of reasons because of trail cameras. Did you see Arizona? And I think Utah now have banned the use of trail cameras for hunting. You can still use them for wildlife research projects, and you can still use them for watching wildlife, but you can't use them for hunting. You combine that with proposed legislation in Arizona right now. In Colorado, that would ban mountain lion hunts and bobcat hunts and lynx hunts, even though lynx are protected federally. What does that tell you right there? When the antis are pushing for something like that, it's a preemptive strike. They're trying to get ahead of things. We need to keep an eye on such things. The anti-hunting groups do not look at the world the way we look at the world. I think they have a skewed perspective, and I don't respect their agenda. But I do have to respect the fact that they seem to be pretty dedicated in what they want to accomplish. And they are extraordinarily well organized, and they are incredibly well funded. And that makes them very dangerous. And they seem to be having the ability to infiltrate fish and game management organizations, primarily in the West right now, but keep an eye on it here in Michigan as well. Really something to keep an eye on. It has me very, very concerned. A couple of things bringing it back closer to home. You may have, well, if you've been listening at all, you know that I've had a guy on the show here several times now. His name is Jordan Farmer, very well-known houndsman here in Michigan. He lost another hound to wolves last week in the UP. It's not the first dog he's lost. In fact, he's going to join me here in the show in just a few minutes to talk about that. But it brings up the issue of wolves here in Michigan and why we don't have a wolf hunt here in Michigan. And I will bring this back to this whole anti-hunting craze. The feds, it's my understanding at least, the feds have delisted wolves. So you can have a wolf hunt. So it's up to the state managers. I am convinced that the powers that be in Michigan do not have the heart to push for a wolf hunt. From the governor on down through the NRC into the DNR, I don't believe they have the heart to push for a wolf hunt. And they'll tell you that they're preoccupied with CWD, with COVID, with funding issues. And I pray that that is really the reason. I pray that it's not because they're starting to get some chirping in their ears and some outside pressure from these anti-hunting groups. I believe firmly that the DNR does not have the heart to get into a fight with the anti-hunting groups again. I just don't think it's high enough on their agenda that they want to push for it. I think they believe that there are other things more important that they want to push for. And that's fine unless you live in some part of the state in the UP where there is a genuine wolf problem. So we'll talk with Jordan Farmer about that. Speaking of large predator hunts, Chris Durson of Rapid River Knife Works, who will also be on the show this week, was out in Idaho. And he killed a huge mountain lion, cougar, puma, whatever you want to call it. Legally, of course. Chris wouldn't do anything illegal, and I wouldn't post an illegal harvest on my page. But I did post those pictures on my page, and I was very disappointed at the negative comments that it drew. Obviously, a lot from the anti-hunters. I expect that. But the negative comments from so-called fellow hunters, that's what disappoints me the most. When people say, well, I believe in rabbit hunting, I believe in deer hunting, but I don't believe in hunting a mountain lion. Well, what is it? You've got to decide, do you support sound scientific wildlife management practices, which involves the harvest of predators to make for a healthier wildlife population, or don't you? You can't pick and choose. You can't say, I support deer hunting, but I don't support bear hunting. I support grouse hunting, but I don't support wolf hunting. Well, what is it? We're all in this together. And as hunters, I think we need to really take a serious look at who our real enemies are. Yes, I talk about the anti-hunting groups that we're seeing out west right now. Let's keep them out of Michigan if we can. We can't, but let's do our best to keep aggravating them and fighting them. But I think the bigger threat is fellow hunters not supporting each other. Because if we don't support each other and we become fragmented again, or still, should I say, the anti-hunters come into a state like Michigan, they say, what's weak? What's weak? Well, we can't get rid of deer hunting right away, but boy, we can sure get rid of the hound hunting, or we can get rid of the bear hunting. It's a real situation and something that we cannot put our heads into the sands and continue to ignore. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine show after the break, Jordan Farmer, the UP houndsman who lost that dog from a wolf attack. I'll talk with him about that. Then Nick Green of MUCC follows up on a conversation we had last week about a proposal, a piece of legislation to get guides, hunting guides, licensed in Michigan. There's a lot of confusion about that. We'll probably talk about wolves as well. In hour number 2, Chris Durson talking about that mountain lion hunt. And in hour 3, we're going fishing in St. Joe in the southwest part of the state with Jerry Link and, of course, Dave Miner here on Outdoor Magazine.
Do you want to save money on
Good morning, Chris. I couldn't say hi to you. I see you there. Jeff checking in from the Florida Keys. Jeff, I know you love the Keys. Brent's all set on tickets. I hope you gave Lisa some grief for me. Nathan says, when is the next outdoor show? What show, Nathan? What are we talking about? I won't stop this feed, Nathan, until I get an answer. We see here.
checkout and get a great discount,
Okay.
including my favorite. the Raise
Nathan, I'm curious what outdoor show it is you're talking about.
popular seafood ground blinds on the market at a price you can't beat anywhere. Again, go to primaltreescapes.com and use the promo code.
You said you're holding 2 tickets for him here. Yes.
Everything on the website, including that great ground blind for less than $200. If you like to troll, you need
Anything around? Oh, nothing I know of around Bay City, Nathan. Nothing I know of. All right, my friends. Well, Brian, thank you for your service. God bless you for that. All right, my friends, I'm going to let you go. We're going to continue on with the show. You can always reach me via email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Check out the website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com. And hopefully you can join me tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a great